Good morning, students. So this is the last topic of module number one, that is macro processor. So up to now, you heard about something called microprocessors, right? So he is able to execute the instruction. So according to the logic, it will be generating the result exactly. So here, we'll be discussing regarding the macroprocessor, okay? So which is used to expand the program exactly, okay? So here, in today's session, we'll be discussing regarding what is macroprocessor, okay, what is the job of the macroprocessor. Then under this, we need to discuss two different concepts. One is macro definition and expansion, and second is the algorithm and the data structure what we are using to implement the concepts of macroprocessor exam. Okay, so before I move on to the related topics regarding the macroprocessor, so it is same as the subroutine. Okay, how we are having, like whenever we are having the task to be achieved, okay, then we are just going to call them. Okay, so but here we have some work difference over here. In case of subroutine, we will be managing the program separate. So how many number of times we are going to call them? Okay, the resultant or the return value only will be utilized in the programming. Okay, we need to pass the parameter for the subroutine. According to the subroutine logic, it will be generating the result. So that the result will be sent back to the main program, and later the execution begins exactly. Okay, but in case of macroprocessor, we are having some predefined macro instructions or predefined macro codes. Okay, so whenever we expect the result of those, we are just calling them. Then here the expansion takes place exactly. So whenever we are calling those programs, the macro program, then we start doing the expansion. Okay, so we'll see that how we can do this. Okay, so we are having some limitations also. What are those limitations and how we can utilize these macro concepts in our assembly level language? We'll discuss that. So a macro represents a commonly used group of statements in the source programming language. So this macro states it is a group of program, okay, so which is defined in our program itself, but it will be called whenever we are expecting. Okay, so when we see the example, we can easily understand. The macro instruction or macro is a notational convenience for a programmer. So it allows the programmer to write shorthand version of the program. See, if you want to achieve a particular task multiple number of times, okay, so multiple number of times you need to write the same code so that we can get the execution result. Is it? Okay, so instead of that, what we do, the multiple number of times the task which should be performed, okay, that program will be written in the beginning of the main program. I repeat, beginning of the main program. Okay, the complete source code, okay, which is completing that repeated task, okay, will be available. Okay, using some directory, we are defining that section of the program as a macro. Okay, the starting location of the macro and end of the macro both will be identified by using some directories. Okay, then later you go for writing the main program. So wherever you are expecting that the task which should be completed multiple number of times, then you are just calling this macro word. Okay, then the same program, feel that 10 lines of macro program you are writing in the initiation of the main program. Okay, so in the beginning of the main program, somewhere in the execution, you are calling that macro instruction or macro program. Then from there, we are going to start expanding the program. Okay, along with the parameters and along with the arguments, whatever you are trying to pass. Okay, so same thing will be implemented over here. Okay, so here, if you are calling 10 times, okay, 10 times expansion will take place. Okay, but instead of writing that the macro program 10 different times, okay, your programmer can use the shorthands, like you can just use the macro name. That's it. Okay, then that will allow the program to get expand, okay, according to the macro instruction which is written. Okay, then later, next point, the macro processor replaces each macro instruction with the corresponding group of source language statement. Okay, so this process we call it as expanding. Okay, so whatever the name of the program we are having, that we are calling it a macro name, so that will be expanded with its original code. So this procedure we call it as expansion. This procedure we call it as expansion. Normally it performs no analysis of the text in handling. Okay, so it does not concern the meaning of the involved statement during macro expansion. So it won't concern about like what is the meaning, what is the logic we are using, it will just go for the expansion. The design of the macro processor generally is machine independent. Okay, it doesn't matter like whether it is machine dependent or machine independent. Okay, like it will be generated or it will be designed as usual. Okay, two new assembler directives are used in macro definition. Okay, you can observe. The first one we call it as a macro. Okay, identify the beginning of the macro definition. Okay, so whenever we have that keyword called as a macro, from there the macro definition begins exactly. And we call it as identify the end of the macro definition. So we'll see some example, then we can have better example, better gesture of the macro programs. So yeah, the prototype for the macro. So each parameter begins with ampersand. Okay, so this is what the parameters or this is what the prototype we are having. So name of the macro, whatever we are providing, okay, so that should be the first. Then the keyword or the directive called as a macro, then it should be followed by the parameters. Okay, observe it. So this parameter should begin with the ampersand always. Okay, how many number of parameters you want, we can include. It should be separated by comma. Okay, then the body of the macro program. Okay, that will be available at last at the end of the macro. Okay, we should use an exactly. The body statement, okay, that will be generated as the expansion body of the macro exactly. So the body will be what? The expansion version we are calling. The basic macro processor functions we are having, those are two: macro definition and expansion. Then second one is macro processor algorithm and data structure exactly. Okay, so in today's session we will be discussing regarding macro definition and expansion. So macro definition and expansion. Okay, so here in the next slide we have one figure. Okay, figure shows the macro expansion. Okay, the left block shows the macro definition and the right block shows the expanded macro, replacing the macro call with its block of executable instruction exactly. So here you can observe. So these are the two different varieties exactly. So this is the source. Okay, where we have a prototype of the macro. Okay, and this is the program exactly. Okay, some main program we are having. See here, M1 we are using. M1 is the name of this particular macro block. Okay, so after this M1, we are using the directive called as a macro. So these are the two parameters we are using: ampersand of D1, ampersand of D2. So inside that we have a program that store the accumulator value in D1. Okay, store the base register value in D2 exactly, and we are finding. Then in the program, we are having a statement. Just observe M1 data 1, data 2, M1, data 4, data 3 exactly. So M1 means what? It is the name of a macro. Okay. So we need to go for expansion with these two parameters exactly. So in the place of D1, what we have, data 1 we have, in the place of D2, what we have, data 2 we are having. So here in the place of D1 we are having data 4, in the place of D2 we are having data 3 exactly. So after expanding, these two lines will be replaced with these four lines. What are those? Like store accumulator with ampersand of D1. Okay, so that we are writing it as store accumulator with data 1, then store base register value inside data 3 exactly. Same thing for data 4 and data 3 exactly. So this is how we do the expansion. So this is the macro, which is defined in the beginning of the program. This is the content we are utilizing in the body of the program exactly. So it should be expanded in this way. Okay, so first we discuss like what is macro definition. So what is the syntax of macro definition exactly? So whenever we find these kind of macro names in the source program, okay, that should be expanded actually. Okay, so now we'll go for how it will be expanded. The program with macros is supplied to the macro processor. Okay, so this programs whatever we are having, so that will be supplied. So each macro invocation statement will be expanded into the statements that form the body of the macro. The job of this macro processor is the macro body, whatever we are having, so that will be placed in the source program with an argument from the macro invocation substituted for the parameters, okay, in the macro prototype exactly. So what all the arguments we are trying to pass, okay, using this macro name whenever we are calling for the expansion. So what all the parameters we are passing, so that will be matched with the arguments. So wherever those like argument location will be available, okay, so with respect to that, these parameters will be placed exactly. During the expansion, the macro definition statements are deleted since they are no longer needed. So once we are expanding the macro definition, then the invocation call, whatever we are having, so that will be deleted. In place of that, we are going to place the macro values exactly. The arguments and the parameters are associated with one another according to their positions. See, the arguments and the parameters, whatever we are having, so on what place we are substituting that. Okay, so that will be matched. Okay, the first argument in the macro matches with the first parameter in the macro prototype, and so on. So after macro processing, the expanded file can become the input for the assembler. Okay, the macro invocation statement is considered as comment, and the statement generated from expansion is treated exactly as though they had been written directly by the programmers. Okay, so the expansion, whatever we are providing, right, for the macro names. Okay, so that will be considered as it has been written by the programmer itself. Okay, like that, we are going to submit it for the assembler. The difference between macros and subroutine is that the statement from the body of the macro is expanded the number of times the macro invocation is encountered. Okay, like how many times you are encountering this macro statement, those many times we need to go for the expansion. Whereas the statement of the subroutine appears only once, no matter how many times the subroutine is called. Okay, so we may go for calling nested subroutine. Okay, we may go for call like multiple number of subroutine programs. Okay, but the resultant will be submitted as a only one statement. So that is what the main difference. The macro instructions will be written so that the body of the macro contains no label. So this is what the only one restriction what we got. Okay, means whatever the macro programs we are writing, right? Okay, the body of the program, it should be free from the labels. Okay, if you are with label, then it will be considered as an error exactly. Okay. So next slide we'll be discussing regarding this condition exactly. The problem of the label in the body of macro. Okay, so in the body of the macro, it should be free from the labels. Okay, how we are using C loop, right? Okay, such type of label should not be included. Okay, if the same macro is expanded multiple times, okay, at different places in the program, there will be a duplication label, okay, which will be treated as error by the assembler. See, as we know, like if you are having multiple number of times calling for a macro multiple number of times, we are going to expand the macro program. Then if there is a one label also, it will be expanded for multiple number of times. Then when it will be assembled, it will be treated as like duplicate location, because one label with one location address it will be. Okay, next time if it is expanded, same label with another address exactly. So such type of problem will be arise. So it should be avoided. So solution is do not use label in the body of the macro. Okay, explicitly use the PC relative addressing instead. Okay, so what we are doing over here is, if you want to target any particular location, instead of label, we will be targeting them based on the address. Okay, sometimes forward reference, sometimes backward reference it will be. So that will be based on the program counter reference exactly. See, here example of read buffer and write buffer. In the next slide, we have an example. Okay, there we are using such type of a condition. See, a jump equals to, then star represents the program counter where it is pointing for. It should be added with 11. Okay, it should be added with 11. So for what particular location it is targeting, that there we need to take a jump. Okay, in case of this, if jump less than, okay, jump we need to perform. If it is condition less than, then what we need to do, program counter value, whatever we are having, okay, program counter value, it should be subtracted by 14. So whatever the resultant value are going to generate, okay, to that location we need to jump exactly. Okay, so like if you're not including such type of supplements, okay, then it will be generating an error, or it will be providing generating an inconvenience. Okay, so here is an example of this macro program. You can observe, okay, read buffer. This is what the name of the macro. Okay, just assume the prototype what we discussed: name, macro, parameters, body, letter, and end. Okay, so here, so this is what the from clear X to store index register with the address of this parameter, okay, this variable or this operand what we are having. Okay, till here we consider as a body. So this is the definition actually. Okay, this is the definition. See here, read buffer, RD buffer is the name of a macro. So we are using the directly called as a macro, and these are the parameters, okay, or the arguments what we are trying to involve in this particular macro body exactly. So here from here to here there will be a body of the program. Okay, and this is the end. Okay, just observe, we don't have any kind of a label. We don't have any kind of a label. Instead of that, we are having system equal to star plus 11, which is targeting for the test device, which is targeting for test device exactly. Same thing, we do it for write buffer, we do it for write buffer exactly. So here just observe macro with appropriate arguments. Okay, so here the body of the program. Okay, this is what we end. So here also we are stating here jump equals to, means here we are targeting for this particular, so minus 3 exactly. See, uh, program counter, if it is dealing with this, okay, it should be subtracted by 3 so that it can target for the test device exactly such type. Okay, so this is the macro program which is included in the beginning of the program exactly. So this is the main program. Observe it very careful. So here read buffer. So from here it will be expanded. From here it will be expanded with these parameters exactly. So this will be compared with the arguments which is defined over here in the read buffer. Same time it will be applicable for write buffer exactly. So when we are using write buffers here, write buffer here we are using. Here also we are using write buffer. So these are the multiple number of times we are using the write buffer exactly. So here instead of this particular line, we are replacing it with the body of the macro. Okay, body of the macro. Okay, so this will be neglected. So MN will be neglected. Rest of this will be applied over here. Okay, so this is how macro expansion and macro definition used to work. Okay, so in next session we'll be discussing like how this macro algorithms will be working on that. Okay, okay, so friends, thank you. So this is it for now. So we'll meet with next topic in next lecture.